Hey guys, welcome to Jam Movies. Today's Valentine's Day. Let's talk about My Bloody Valentine. It's a Canadian classic. Alright, so this is a movie that you showed me a couple years ago. I didn't even know it was a Canadian movie, or it was a movie, to be honest, until you showed me, which is My Bloody Valentines. It was actually a really good movie for its time and whatnot. I got actually jumped at some of the scenes and whatnot, but I do have to say for the first watch, which was 2 years ago, maybe a year ago now, it was a great movie. Definitely would recommend to other people to watch it, but it's a low budget movie. What was the budget at?
Budget was at 2.3 million. I think we said it was, and then I think what did it gross? 5?
Yeah, 5 million. Not much, but even for that little, I mean, we just finished talking about other horror movies, especially newer ones, with the inflation rate. 2 million is a lot less now, but for its time and what they had, they did an amazing work, and we'll get into more on why they spent so much, like. Where they did the most of the filming, which was in Sydney Mines, Nova Scotia. The city wanted to paint their mines so it looked nice and appealing on film, but that's not what they wanted for the film. They wanted it to look like an actual mine to make it a little bit more scary and whatnot. So they had to undo all their work and make it look like it was an old mine. So that's stuff like that is probably where a lot of the budget went into. But what do you have to say about the budget?
No, they utilized it well. I mean, it's not like a over-the-top gory movie. It's not over-the-top, fully loaded with special effects. And obviously, we're talking about the 80s, so there's no computer effects, CGI, none of that stuff, right? What they did, it was good. It's funny, too, because, I mean, you look at the remake, and the remake obviously had a higher budget, and to me this seems like a better quality movie. I still enjoy the remake for a guilty pleasure standpoint, I guess, but this one, I actually enjoy watching the film. There's not a whole lot of Canadian films too that I enjoy. This is definitely one of them, and I've seen this movie so many times. It's almost like one of those movies you just kind of like, I'm not sure what to watch, throw it in there.
Yeah.
It's Valentine's Day, throw it in there. It's Halloween, throw it in there. There's so many different occasions you can watch this movie. And, I mean, we get into, I guess, the actors and the directors. The director, what do we have? George Maholka.
Yeah.
I don't know any of his work or whatever, so I can't really elaborate on for what he did for this movie. I thought he did a great job. His direction was there. He had his jump scares. There's certain scenes where it kind of left you, I guess, wondering where this character was, lurking in the dark, right? It was a well put together film for the material and the budget he had. He did a great job. Again, I don't know if he did anything else, but same thing with the actors too.
Yeah, I agree.
Do you know any of the actors?
No, I have not much to say about either or.
Yeah.
What they did in the movie was good itself, but I don't know much of the work from them. It's an older movie. I'm not too familiarized. Neither are you with the actor or the director, but a great movie nonetheless. But like one of my favorite scenes was when the policeman was in the mine and he was drinking, and he made up a fake killer where he put it in the door and he hooked it up, so every time he opened the door the axe would go up.
Yep.
And the last part he opens and it didn't go up. That's what it was. And he closed the door and he kind of thought, he's like, what the heck, why didn't it go up? And then he opened the door and it went through his jaw, up his eye, and his eye popped out and whatnot. Even like back then, those were pretty good effects for what they had back then and whatnot. That was one of my favorite scenes.
Well, we always talk about practical effects all the time, and how much more time and effort it takes, right, for something like that, and how much more I appreciate it. I know you appreciate it more than special CGI effects and stuff. I'm not, especially with horror, I'm not a huge fan with CGI. I know sometimes it's necessary, but a movie like this, no. And again, so you got to appreciate the time and effort that went into what they created for this film. But if we're talking about favorite scenes, and I would say mine would have to be the scene where all the mining uniforms are all being hung, and they're moving back and forth, and then eventually the killer comes out and does his business, right? But that would be definitely my favorite scene, and that goes right back to what I was saying before, with his direction, right? The jump scares were there, and it's still like, I mean, we've seen it. I mean, you've seen it a few times. I've seen it over the years. I still get those same reactions depending on if my surround sound's up high, etc. Right? And especially too with this transfer from Scream Factory, excellent work. If you guys have a 4K player, most of these movies that we purchase, they're excellent quality. We make sure we check the quality first. This is definitely a really good transfer, especially for it being a low budget older movie. Let's kind of end this discussion here with the ending. How did you feel about it?
Okay, so it was in the mine, obviously we know that. And what was I gonna say? So they were actually filming in a real mine, which was in Sydney Mines, Nova Scotia, and it was actually 90 feet underground, if I'm not mistaken, and they actually had to use special equipment due to the natural gases and stuff like that.
Which would explain probably the budget why it was so high, right?
Yeah, and some of the scenes like where it was blowing up was made offset, obviously, for obvious reasons. But Axel, the killer, didn't even know he was the killer until the mine scene, which I believe was the 3 last weeks of recording, which was good to make it harder for us as viewers to pick, this guy's the killer, because no one knew who the killer was. So
that's actually clever. I didn't even know that.
Yeah. So because I believe up until the scene where when he was saving his girlfriend, which was the other guy was trying to take from him. He believed that was actually his girlfriend. He was actually trying to save her from the killer, but in fact, he was the killer. But so it's cool to do that, and helps the actors make the world more believable without them knowing, right? So, going back to the ending, I liked the ending. I did not expect Axel to be the killer, but it was good. And then, what do you think about the ending?
Well, it's funny because now we're talking about comparison to the remake, right? When the remake, Axel's now this time not the killer, and he's the hero, we'll say. And they kind of switched it up, threw it on its side in the remake, right? Which is cool, I guess, because if you knew who the killer was, obviously there's no point of watching it. But this ending I thought was a lot better than that ending. It made more sense. The pieces fit together better. I wasn't expecting Axel in this movie to be the killer when I watched it way back when, right? I think I was a teenager maybe when I first watched it. And then remake was cool. This one's the OG, and it's definitely held up all these years. I'm really happy that I have it in the best possible quality. I will enjoy it every year, and maybe even a few times a year. I will say that. But let's go to the Jammeter.
Ooh, the Jammeter.
How full is that jar?
I like the movie, but I'll have to rate it a 65.
That's fair.
It's a good movie, but I can't rate it higher than a 65. It's a movie I would watch still once a year. I'll rate movies that are higher than 65 that I probably will only watch maybe every other year. But I don't know. It's a good movie, but it's just, I don't know.
It's not there.
Yeah,
there's
exactly.
better films out there.
Yeah, I enjoy it. Just one of those movies, like you said, there's nothing else to watch, I'll throw it on. Or it's Halloween and there's no other slasher I want to watch, I'll throw this on or whatnot. But what would you rate it?
You know what? I'm right around where you are. I'm gonna have to give it a 60. And again, too, it's not because I don't enjoy the film. It is a lower budget film that's not overly innovative. I mean, the idea is, I guess you could say, with the mining and the killer. I did like the killer's outfit, but it's not like I wouldn't say it's a great film. It's a good film, which is why it fits around the 60-65 range, right? There again, too, there's forgettable characters in the movie. There's nothing too much more than your generic slasher film. thrown kind of on a spin, you know, it being in the minor killer and stuff like that. But yeah, no, 60 is, and again too, I hope it doesn't discourage you from watching it. It's still a good movie.
Yeah.
Check it out if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, like we own the physical copy. We watch it, like we said, at least once a year. So we'd still recommend it. We rate it low, but that does not mean it's not a movie we enjoy watching.
Yeah. There's just better movies out there. So with that being said, Johnny, I think we should thank the audience for joining us today on our discussion of My Bloody Valentine. I hope you guys have a great Valentine's Day. If you like this video, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Happy Valentine's Day, and thanks for jamming with us.